Greetings. Thanks once again for joining us. Today I'm in an area that I'll call the duck attack zone. This is a place called Roslyn, New York, and on my right is something called the Bryant Library. And right now, as you can see, we have a giant population of ducks here. The focus of our talk today is something called a channel check. And my goal of this show is to help you guys look at the channel of what's going on with Tesla in the United States, specifically in the greater New York area, and then be able to use that information to sort of make better decisions on your investing and trading. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. As you can see, the ducks are in full force and enjoying the environment, so I'm trying to dodge the droppings as well as do my show here for a little bit different look behind me. So today I wanted to, I should say, these aren't duck, they're geese. At any rate, there are about 5 points I'd like to make today. So this is sort of a continuation of our last show. What I realized is that one of the ways that I've built a relationship with my viewers is because of something called a channel check. And what does that mean? Well, for example, if you analyze food, one of the things you end up having to do is you got to go eat at all the McDonald's if you're going to be a food analyst. So the thing about Tesla is that not only is Tesla a great investment, but Tesla is also a great trading environment. So one of my favorite discussions that I have is a discussion of the famous Indian proverb of the 6 blind men, all of whom know exactly what an elephant looks like because they're all blind and they're all holding a different part of the elephant. And they're highly confident that their view of the elephant is the sort of winning view, if you will. So I'm trying to incorporate some of the view here. Not being rude about you seeing me, but the basic idea here is that the more data you get on what's happening to Tesla from different angles, you all of a sudden get an opportunity to get a clear picture. So for example, today we're going to be focusing on, well, what does the Tesla perspective look like from a place called Roosevelt Field, New York. Now, we have a friend in Sweden, and he has his view of things, and we cover that about every 2 weeks. And so, as we get these different views, you now have a perspective that's based on, if you will, a global vision of what's going on with the company. And that enables you to make money because all of a sudden, you'll hear a statement made, but you're going to be able to quickly go back and say, yeah, that's a good point that was made, but based on what I've seen going on in Sweden, US, and China, we therefore get this outcome. So in that regard today, I'd like to review what we saw in Roosevelt Island. We're about 4 or 5 minutes in on the analysis of the photos or video that I'm going to split screen to you right now. And then we're going to be, after 4 or 5 minutes, going back through to, sort of do an after action report, shall we say. So our after action report today, or our before action report today, is that number one, as I shared in my last video, from what I could tell, prior to shutting down, Tesla ramped production and sent that production out across the United States, at least in the case of here. And Roosevelt Field, the strategy, one of the strategies that Tesla has adopted is stacking up EVs in certain locations. In the case of Tesla, in this case, the location stack up that we're doing is Roosevelt Field. Now, why is this location kind of a good place to stack up cars? So, the greater Los Angeles market and the greater New York market are two of the how should I put it, the largest markets in the United States. Usually Los Angeles greater as a market is number one and New York is number 2 or 3, but the general point is you have a lot of very wealthy people, likely customers of Tesla, and so understanding what those consumers are choosing to do is actually a big deal. So I looked at the Roosevelt Field location and I was thinking to myself, that's interesting, why don't you just put it in Manhattan? Because if the cars are stored in Manhattan, it's a central location to getting cars to New Jersey, upstate New York, Connecticut, or, down into New Jersey or into Long Island. And you would cover sort of those folks very well. The problem with that, though, is that when you have a mall with open space, and there isn't a lot of open space like that all over greater New York, it's a great location because from Roosevelt Field, you can actually get to Connecticut. Yeah, you got to pay a toll, but basically you can get to Connecticut, New Jersey, Westchester, and you're already on Long Island, so you're getting to most of the wealthiest communities in the greater New York area in fairly short periods of time. So it looks like a bad location on the map, but it's actually a great location because it's relatively perfectly dispersed for where these vehicles might have to go. So a quick 3 or 4 points. Number one, I like the fact that the vehicles are ready to be sold. Number one. Number two, there's a lot of Model Ys and the cars look great, particularly the Burgundy, as I shared with you. Number three, one of the things I've never been able to figure out from Tesla, and I'm still in the mode of what are they doing, is that in the USA, whenever you see cars going by you, if a car is worth, or a group of cars is worth less than $60,000 and they're ICE vehicles, you'll see them on a regular car hauler. Once you cross that magical 60K, you all of a sudden see the vehicles start doing things like having covers on those vehicles. It'll be a white plastic cover. I'll try to include a photo of that. And then once you get over $100,000, it's going to be some kind of an enclosed trailer because there are rocks that can chip the paint. There are birds that take a dump on your vehicle. There are all these potential problems that might show up. So you eliminate those problems by the de facto cost of those vehicles are giving you a good reason to sort of better structure yourself for that. So it's great, the location, I think. Number two, as I shared in my last video, there's 20% more vehicles that are for sale right now or sitting in the storage lot that would be able to service the service centers on Long Island or other places. So yeah, I would say it's a good location. Number three, if those vehicles were sold, they wouldn't be sitting out there waiting. And this is likely an influencer on why production is shut down right now for an extended shutdown during the holiday period. Number 4, man, there's no real security guard on those things, and there's no fencing around those cars, as you'll see. And so therefore, if you do have some vandalization stuff going on, it could be a problem. Number 5, as you see, there may be some kind of a layer on the vehicles that can be washed off. But in general, when I look at that situation, I'm seeing very expensive cars with expensive paint jobs that might need touch-ups if the wash finds that there's some damages that you have to clean up before you can sell them. So number 6, there ain't a lot of places in places like Long Island and New York City to store cars, and the price point won't be severely high. So the other thing is that vehicles come in by train to a place called Birmingham, Alabama, and then they're put on trucks that feed cars to the entire East Coast. And so one would think that those vehicles there have come in a series of loads at, between 8 and 10 cars a load, and then we got 500 vehicles sitting there. Obviously, you can see that we're looking at about 500 vehicles, 90% of which are Model Ys, and pretty much all those Model Ys are the latest version. Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. For this home, they have some of the most beautiful roses I've seen in quite a while, all growing in different groups and extremely well maintained. So overall, what I wanted to say is that we're in a situation right now where there's a lot of Tesla inventory sitting, waiting for buyers here in New York. Now, one of the bad things about this video is that if we get you to tell us what the inventory looks like in different lots across America in the comments below, there's a way that other folks can get a feel for what's going on with Tesla currently, because we can't see very much in order to sort of complete the picture of this, but your input would definitely affect that. So next, I'd like to, by the way, what did you put on the picture, sir? What was on the photo for the dog? Oh, okay. You were showing him a photo. There's a dog owner just now that I passed, and as he allowed me to pass, he was showing his dog a photo. And what I was thinking about is that might be a creative way to get your dog to relax if you have a friendly dog that you're going to go visit it, and they might get kind of happy, hyped up by that. Good idea. So overall, what I wanted to point out is there's a lot of vehicles sitting there. Obviously, if they were sold, they wouldn't be sitting there. So it looks like we have an inventory overhang. And therefore, if I were to forecast into where we're headed for Tesla's revenue profit numbers, stuff like this is where you'd have to say, hey, the numbers may not be that great because you do have all that inventory. We don't have shortages going on right now, hence they wouldn't have shut down production. So, what do I think about this? Well, the growth story for Tesla, I think, lurks in robots as well as in the robotaxi. So the answer right now is what the market thinks, is that the company is actually doing pretty well, and it's confirmed by the stock price being up $100 in a couple of weeks. So I wanted to just add a picture of what was going on from the viewpoint of greater New York. And then again, what do things look like at your Tesla facilities? So I love history. I don't know the city of Roslyn as well as I should, but you're looking at one of the earliest sort of cities where the American Revolution was fought, and George Washington and everything were coming through this area in the 1700s in their battles. And we'll have more sort of historical perspective for you, but a lot of the ancient architecture is being preserved and upgraded so we can view it here. So I wanted to basically do a show today where we allowed you to see, well, there's some questions from the video we've shown you. What colors, and as I say that, there's a Tesla owner that's pulling in right now. As you can see the black Model Y there, and it's the older version, and it looks like he's heading to a restaurant right behind us. So, at any rate, what colors are you seeing? Which cars are you seeing? It's primarily Model Y. Roosevelt Field, we're in Greater New York. Any rate, losing battery power. Want to thank you for joining us. Don't forget your 25 leg lifts. Also, just want to encourage you, very light meal prior to making love. And want to thank you for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Just au revoir. La Heath Road, Hoda Haifez, Draisi Jimmy Homa. And in Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Bye for now.